Now, we often hear the phrase, you cannot put a price on safety, and we hear it time and time again, but never is a truer word written or spoken. Take a look at the details on this. 557896 is the item number, and when you become a parent, never are those words more meaningful than what they are right now for me. 5820 is the FireAngel premium brand, the Wi-Safe smoke and carbon monoxide alarm kit with remote warning handset as well. Nick's with us, Nick Hickman. It's good to see you. How are you? All right?
Charlie. Very well, thank you.
Fourth time on air here at QVC.
That's right.
And it is a product which isn't jewellery, it isn't beauty, it isn't healthcare or fashion, but it is an essential product. Before we explain more, let's talk about FireAngel. Who are they? Where are they in the marketplace?
FireAngel are the leading company in the UK of domestic home safety products. What we have here in terms of a package is the Wi-Safe range, which is unique to FireAngel. There's nothing else on the market like it, and what it does in its simplest sense is makes your home a safe environment from smoke, fire and carbon monoxide.
Now, it's a three-piece kit, as you can see here. It comes complete with the smoke alarm over here, plus the carbon monoxide alarm here, and this very clever handset. Should we go through each component bit by bit? Start with the smoke alarm.
The smoke alarm, I don't think needs too much saying about it, other than it will detect smoke in the event of a fire in your home, and you would place this somewhere like the landing in your house. That is wireless.
So it's noisy?
It's very noisy.
A noise.
85 decibels, and will also flash a light.
OK, and battery-powered?
Battery-powered, yes, that's absolutely right.
And when the battery runs low, does it warn us?
There is a warning beep when the battery runs low to replace it, and there's also a large test button in the middle so that you could stick a broom handle up if you needed to, rather than having to get up ladders and things like that.
All right, so that's the first bit of the kit. We then got this here, which not all of us are familiar with. This particular unit.
That's right. I think awareness of carbon monoxide is very low at the moment. However, it's a really important aspect. Carbon monoxide is formed when fossil fuels burn inefficiently. Now, that all sounds a little bit technical. I'll try and make it a bit simpler. If you have anything that runs with coal, oil, gas, kerosene, paraffin in your house, then potentially, if it's not working efficiently, it could be giving off carbon monoxide. So that could be a boiler, or a cooker, or a gas fire, any of those kinds of things. Carbon monoxide, for a very good reason, is called a silent killer. Now, that sounds a little bit dramatic, but it has no taste, no smell. You can't hear it, you can't see it. It's totally invisible to human senses. The only way you'll know if you have carbon monoxide in your home is if you have a carbon monoxide alarm.
And what can carbon monoxide, worst case scenario, do to us?
Worst case scenario, carbon monoxide will kill you. It's as dramatic as that. And, you know, there are numerous cases in the newspapers of that happening. However, on a smaller scale, even if you have a small leak of carbon monoxide, you will feel nauseous, you'll have a slight headache, you might feel a little bit dizzy. A lot of people might go to the doctors with those kinds of symptoms and be told, you know, you're not feeling very well, a bit under the weather, have some tablets, go home, back into the same environment where there's carbon monoxide. Obviously, the doctor didn't know that. And that cycle then gets worse and worse and worse. And as I say, you know, you are sat in your home basically being poisoned and without realising it.
So where do we position this and how does it work?
We suggest, I mean, the manuals make this very clear.
OK, follow those.
But absolutely.
Yeah.
We would suggest that you place this next to an appliance that I mentioned earlier that, you know, potentially could leak carbon monoxide. Now, that might be a boiler in the garage, and that's the beauty of Wi-Safe, is because it's wireless and these units talk to the handset, then if you have a carbon monoxide leak anywhere in your house, this will identify it and send a message to the handset.
Now, this is where this becomes very, very clever, because you were telling me before coming on air that there have been cases where a smoke alarm has gone off, but it hasn't necessarily been heard.
That's right. The fire brigades in the UK would suggest that for good practice at night, you have your doors shut, your internal doors shut, so that if there were to be a fire, that would slow down the rate of the fire in your home. Now, the problem with that is if you have a smoke alarm on the ceiling in the landing and you have a bedroom door shut, there's been some research carried out that shows that children, that's between 6 and 15 years old, wouldn't hear that smoke alarm. They wouldn't wake up to it in time to get out of the house alive. They also, I mean, the carbon monoxide alarm, if that was in the garage and, you know, near a boiler or something, and you had the door shut and you're upstairs in bed, you might not hear it.
But that's where this handset comes into play. I'm just conscious of the time. We've only got 2.5 minutes left, so we've got the handset here.
The handset is awesome. What you have is a system that recognises when there's a problem in the house with leaking smoke or carbon monoxide. It will flash and alarm right next to the person who needs it the most. So that's either a child who wouldn't wake up, the hard of hearing, or heavy sleepers. Very cleverly, though, when you take that out, there's a torch here that would turn to a bright escape light. And there would also be a chirper on here that sounds as soon as this is released from the handset. As soon as you put it back in, it resets. The reason the chirper is really handy is that kids will often panic in the dark and would hide under a bed or maybe in the wardrobe, and this will alert the fire brigades or their parents to the fact that they're still in the room and they can then be rescued.
Incredible technology, it really is. £58.20. Now we're seeing again in the video footage, this is the handset. So this ideally would be where we're going to be, i.e. the bedroom.
It's as simple as whoever needs it the most.
Yeah.
If it's a child, it's next to their bed. If it's an elderly relative, it's next to their bed.
So the smoke alarm there's gone off, and that
That's
in turn has activated the handset.
And as you can see, the child then gets out of bed and has a method to escape from the house.
Gosh.
So Wi-Safe is all about waking you up in the event of a fire and getting you out of the house.
That's an incredible piece of technology, isn't it? It is a three-piece kit that we're seeing here. 557896 is the item number. The FireAngel Wi-Safe smoke and carbon monoxide alarm kit with remote warning handset as well. Smoke alarms essential to have in the home, but we don't always think about, and maybe because partly we're not entirely educated on the importance of this alarm here.
That's absolutely right. I think that, you know, carbon monoxide is only going to increase in awareness. Yeah. And, you know, unfortunately there are people that lose their lives to it, but there's an enormous amount of people who suffer carbon monoxide poisoning without even realising it.
Now, it does come with full instructions as to the best place to locate these devices.
Yep, very clear manuals.
Especially, I know many of us are guilty of saying, don't read the instructions. Well, with something like this, it is essential that you read the instructions to get the very best out of this product.
That's right.
And to install it correctly. Nick, thank you very much.
Thank you, Charlie.
Wasn't enough time, was it? We could have talked about that for another 10 minutes.
OK.